Wow. Alabama loses to Vanderbilt. Let's talk about it.
Oh, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable. 35-40, 45-50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal.
Okay, we're going to jump right in. Week 6 has happened. One of the best days of college football I have ever seen. I think it might be the best day of college football that I've ever watched. From the very beginning to the very end, it was action-packed. Teams were losing that people thought there's no way they lose. Teams won where we thought there's no way they win. If you're new here, thank you for watching. Subscribe down below, comment down below. Ian, you're awesome, and I will respond. If you're new here, though, fumbles, first downs, what if poll, muffins. Fumbles, what I got wrong heading into last weekend. First downs, what I got right, what if poll. That's my ranking system for all the teams. We rank it what if we've seen is what these teams are. What if? And muffins, we give out a muffin, certify it, certified stud muffin for a team, a coach, a player, a fan base, for an incredible performance in a big-time football game. We'll jump right in. We're going to start with what I got right this week, okay? Because it's Bama Vandy, guys, okay? Now, if you didn't watch the preview show last week, that's on you because I was all over Vandy this week. Now, did I say Vandy would beat Alabama? I never said that explicitly. Never explicitly. However, I did say, watch out for this football game. That is why we were on Vanderbilt to cover this football game from the get-go. Alabama beats Georgia in the greatest college football game of this year. They have to go on the road to a Vandy team that is much improved. It's a massive letdown spot. College football has that every year. You're on a high. You're riding high. You're as high as you can get on the mountaintops. And you have to travel. You have to go play a team that's not ranked. You're the number one team in the country. Massive letdown spot, okay? And what happened? Well, Alabama let everyone who supports them, they let them down, okay? Now, that letdown led to pure excitement and joy for about 95% of the country, except for Alabama, okay? And look, don't let people who didn't watch this football game tell you it was just Alabama was just off. They didn't play their football game. They only lost because it was Alabama's bad game, okay? Vanderbilt, still not that good. There's no way Vanderbilt outplayed Alabama, okay? Don't let anybody tell you that, okay? Because I watched this game start to finish, okay? From the get-go, Vanderbilt was outplaying Alabama. Outplaying Alabama. I don't know if that sentence has ever been said before. Yesterday, Vanderbilt outplayed Alabama. I have a hard time convincing myself I'm even saying that and believing it. And I watched it happen. I watched it happen with these eyes right here. Everybody saw it happen, okay? How is that possible? Vanderbilt outplays Alabama the week after Alabama beats Georgia? College football, that's how it happens. That's how it happened. It's the only thing I can explain, okay? College football, unlike anything else. And it was unlike anything else yesterday in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay. I'm going to give you a couple numbers on why Vanderbilt dominated, okay? Rushing, 144 to 86. Basically doubled them in the rushing category. That's not a recipe for success for Alabama. Now, they haven't been able to get the rushing game going basically all year, and they didn't get it going against Vanderbilt, okay? Because Vanderbilt was not being moved off the football. The only thing Alabama could do is sort of Ryan Williams, which is a pretty good strategy, but it's not going to get you a win against Vanderbilt, especially in a letdown spot. Next one. These next two basically are the game. They're the game, okay? Alabama, 2 turnovers. Vanderbilt, 0. 0. One of those turnovers for Alabama was a pick 6 on the first possession of the game for Alabama. So Vanderbilt went down the field and scored, took 7 minutes off the clock on their first drive. A couple plays later, boom, pick 6. Alabama's in a hole from the get-go. And when you're playing Alabama, or when you're playing Vanderbilt, a team that runs the option like none other, you've got to figure out a way to stop them. And you can't. You can't. The option, 4 teams in college football run the option, okay? It's hard. It is hard for that. It's hard to cover that, especially when you don't see it every day. And Vanderbilt did it to perfection. They outplayed, they outcoached, they outschemed, they outplanned Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. Okay, 42 minutes. That's how long Vanderbilt had the ball. 42 minutes. Over almost 70% of this game. 42 minutes. Alabama only had the ball for it. They didn't have enough time to do anything. They didn't have enough time to do anything. So that's what shocks me about this is I thought Alabama would win the game, but I thought Vanderbilt would keep it close. Saw that coming in. Where I was wrong was with 100% of the country didn't think Vanderbilt would actually win. And that's why my mind is blown because Kalen DeBoer, who I thought was the best coach in college football, okay, he got out coached leading up to the game, in the game itself, everything surrounding that football game. Vanderbilt and company, they did it 10 times better than what Alabama did yesterday. Okay? That's what you need to be reminding yourself of when you look back at Alabama and what they did against Vanderbilt, okay? They were outcoached, outplayed, outplanned, whatever, survivor, outwit, outlast, out something. That's Vanderbilt did that to Alabama. Every facet of everything yesterday. It was Vanderbilt was here, Alabama was down here. It, I'm it's incredible that Vanderbilt was able to do that to the number one team in the country. Now, next game that I was right about, we're going to another top four team that lost. And you're thinking, two top four teams lost in the same day? Yes, they did. They did. That's how good this day of college football was, guys. Arkansas beat Tennessee. They beat Tennessee. How is that possible? Arkansas? Sam Pittman? Arkansas? They beat Tennessee. They did. They did. In this game, let me tell you, for most of this game, kind of a snooze fest, okay? Kind of a snooze fest. Arkansas was able to move the football. They would get down to the red zone and they would come away with goose egg, nothing, no points. And I was thinking, Arkansas is squandering this game away. It's in their grasp and they're going to let it squeak away. And Tennessee's going to get out of here with a win and it's going to disappoint all of college football. We're this close to another top four team losing. But then Josh Heupel couldn't figure out how to score and move the football on this Arkansas defense. Okay. Now, some are saying a couple weeks ago, if you remember, that Tennessee dialed it back against Oklahoma. They would have scored 75 points. Okay. I said that's a false narrative. They couldn't move it because Oklahoma had a really good defense and they dialed it back because Oklahoma's offense was terrible. Now, against Arkansas, I don't hear the same people saying Tennessee could have scored 75 points. Why aren't they saying that, though? Why aren't they saying that? Because they couldn't move the football and score. Nico, as good as he is, as good as he's going to be, he looked confused out there. He looked confused. He didn't look like the same guy as he had been against these lesser football teams. Because when you go on the road and you play a good football team, which Arkansas is, now they're not world beaters, they're not the best team in the country or anything like that, but they're a solid football team. It's SEC football. You got to actually play a team. Kind of how Kentucky did to Ole Miss last week. Basically the same type of football game. You play good defense, you run the football, you keep the ball away from a high potent offense, and you confuse the quarterback. And you get after the quarterback. Nico looked under duress the entire game. He looked confused. I can't fault Nico for that. He's 19 years old. He's 20 years old. This is his first season starting in college football. I'm not going to fault the guy for looking confused. But if I'm Josh Heupel, I'm trying to help him. And it didn't look like he was getting very much help from his coach. It didn't look like Nico was getting very much help from his coach. That's my takeaway from this football game. Also, Jaquindon Jackson, running back for Arkansas, absolute stud. Taylor Green, absolute stud of a quarterback. I thought when he went injured, Tennessee they were gonna escape. They were gonna escape. I didn't think they were gonna get it done. Arkansas, that is. And I was wrong. I was proved wrong in the game, but we saw this coming. Another spot where a team is riding high. Hey, we're soaring up the polls. We're a top four team in the country. We're basically a lock to make the college football playoff. We can take it. We can relax a little bit. Arkansas, we're gonna go to Arkansas. This is a game that everybody chalked us up to win in the preseason. Arkansas's not very good. They're not very good. Boom! Kicked in the mouth. Kicked in the mouth. There's a video going around of a Tennessee player after Arkansas stormed the field, or during the field storming of a Tennessee defensive lineman. Arkansas fan kind of bumps into him a little bit. Tennessee fan, boom, turns around, shoves this guy to the ground. Um, that's basically what Arkansas did to Tennessee. So Tennessee is the guy, and Arkansas is the Tennessee defensive lineman shoving them to the ground. That's what Arkansas did this entire football game. They were getting pushed around, and it didn't look like Josh Heupel had any answers offensively or defensively, because Arkansas legitimately could have won this football game by 15, 16 points, and they only won by 5. Crazy, crazy, crazy football game. Next one up, Cal versus Miami. A lot of you were probably asleep for this football game. I don't blame you. It was on at midnight, and it didn't end until 2 a.m. So can't blame you there. We were on this one. That's why it's in the first downs, where we were right. We were on this one from the get go. Miami, I was talking to somebody I thought who said, I thought Miami would bounce back after what they did against Virginia Tech. And the idea of a bounce back is normally you lose in order to bounce back. And I said, you can't bounce back if you lose or if you don't lose. You can't bounce back after a win because you won. You did what you were supposed to do. You did what the goal was, and the goal was to win. How do you bounce back after you accomplish the goal? You can't. You can't. So I thought Miami was going to cover this football game. They were going to dominate them. They were going to bounce back and have a nice performance. But you can't bounce back if you don't lose. Okay. So Miami, they don't play again for 2 weeks. They're probably going to be 7-0. Referee help from the ACC officials. And that's honestly where my takeaway from this football game is. I don't think Miami is as good as we think they are, as good as their record says they are. I think it's lying. Okay. I think it's lying. And unfortunately, I think it has to do with the referees. Um, I, I hesitate to say that the referees are in the pocket of Miami right now. The ACC officials, the hierarchy of the ACC is telling the ACC referees, hey, whatever you do, help Miami win. Now, did Cal give up a 35-10 lead? Yes. However, the end of that football game, there was some shady stuff going on with the referees. Now, if there wasn't the chance, I can't excuse Cal. You should have kept the lead and you should have won this football game, but you didn't. So the referees had a chance to step in there and say, "Hey, we've been told, Miami, now you have a chance as you storm back into this football game. We've been told we need Miami to win. They're our chance for the college football playoff. They're our best opportunity to have one of those top 2 seeds if Miami goes undefeated. They're our chance. We got to get them there, okay? No matter what." And that's what the referees did. That is what the referees did. Now, I'm not going to take away Miami. As soon as they went down 35-10, they scored. They had 4 drives. Well, 5 if you count the kneel out. They had 4 drives. All 4 of those drives, touchdowns. So credit to Miami for battling back. Also, credit for the referees for giving Miami the ball back and letting them have an opportunity to win. Okay, so Miami and referees, you're basically on the same team this year. Congratulations. You deserve it, except you don't. I'm a little upset about that one. So, but we were right. Said Cal would cover. That's why they're in the first down section. Now, I'm still in disbelief that Alabama lost. To be honest with you, I still can't comprehend it. I made a little reaction video, and I it's hard to think of the words to describe that football game other than they got dominated. Same thing happened to Tennessee. They look like the inferior team. They look like the worst team on that field. Honestly, Miami, the majority of that football game looked like the lesser, less physical team. All 3 of those teams had something in common. High potent offense, but when you play a solid football team, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're not that high potent team, okay? Now, going to take a sip here from the patented mug. If you want one of these, let me know. We're going to talk about the fumbles, where I was wrong. Just so you know, the picks this year are phenomenal. Okay. We're, I believe, 75 and 37 in the picks this year. So we're not wrong a lot, but I do have to, I like to take accountability for where I'm wrong here. I'm not like those other shows where they just blurt out a whole bunch of garbage and some of it sticks. Okay. I blurt out stuff that sticks and a couple things fall. But right now, a lot is sticking and it's awesome. But some is falling, and some of that was South Carolina Ole Miss. Okay. This is one of those where I should have seen it coming from a mile away. Ole Miss got beat. This is that bounce back game for Ole Miss. Where Miami thought they were going to be able to bounce back, but they didn't actually lose, so you can't bounce back from a win. Well, this was the bounce back for Ole Miss because they actually lost. So I should have seen this one coming from a mile away. The gut was wrong, so that's on me. Ole Miss absolutely dominated South Carolina. It wasn't even a football game. I thought this was going to be a solid game to watch. It wasn't, okay? Unless you're an Ole Miss fan and you're like, hey, we're back. We're back. And I said, after Ole Miss lost last week, I said, don't count the Rebels out. Everybody's going to be selling their Ole Miss Rebel stock, okay? And they were one play away from winning that football game against Kentucky, okay? They're one play away from being 6-0. So don't count the Rebels out. They're still here. They're still not to be messed with, okay? And they showed that against South Carolina. Another game I was wrong in, Ohio State. I wasn't believing in Ohio State. I still wanted to see something from them. Okay, and halfway through this football game, it's 7-0 at halftime. And I'm like, hey, I'm right about Ohio State. I'm right. This team is nothing. Okay, they are nothing. Next thing you know, they win the football game 35-10, 35-14, whatever it was. I don't remember because they obliterated Iowa. Okay, against a really, really good defense. They proved me wrong. They showed me something that made me believe in Ohio State. Okay, and that doesn't happen a lot because we're right a lot this year at the Ian Fritts show. Okay, now that's what I was wrong about. We're going to move in to the what if poll, the top 25. This is what you guys live for. This is what everybody basically lives for. Now, don't come yelling at me. We had 12 teams lose in the top 25 yesterday. Not that many, but it was about, I think, 9, 8, something like that. Crazy amount of teams. Number 25 in the country. I'm not a coward like the AP poll. I rank service academies, okay? Army coming in at number 5. I don't want to play that offense. They run the option. Hard to stop, hard to play. It's tough. Nebraska Cornhuskers at number 24. They beat a solid Rutgers football team. It wasn't pretty. It was old school Big Ten football. Defense. Not a lot of offense. Ugly, but they did it. They did what they needed to do. That defense is legit from Nebraska, okay? Right in front of them, we have Pitt. Pitt could probably be higher. However, I'm not sure if I believe it yet. I was really low on Pitt coming into the year, and I'm going to admit it. I admit it. I have a little bit of bias. Are we sure? Because they weren't highly touted coming into the year? Are we sure we can be aware of what they're actually doing? Can we believe what they're actually doing? I admit that. A lot of people won't admit that, but I admit it. There's still a little bit of that in my mind, and that's why they're a little lower than I think they probably could be. Okay. But Pitt, undefeated football team, offense is really, really good. Eli Holstein, he is playing some good football. Watch out for them. SMU Mustangs. Okay, this is the SMU that I thought we were going to get coming into the year. It's just with a different quarterback than I thought it was going to be. I incorrectly said Preston Stone, dark horse for the Heisman preseason, because I was saying, hey, who's a dark horse that nobody's talking about that can maybe get them into the conversation? Okay, and Preston Stone, he turns out there is a dark horse on that football team. It was just his backup last year, okay? It's just the other quarterback. This is the SMU football team that I thought we were going to see this year, and they are performing extremely well. Extremely high level football team right now. The Ponies down there in Dallas, Texas, love what I'm seeing from SMU, okay? In front of them, Oklahoma Sooners defense, still, I think, a top 15 defense in all of college football. Huge matchup. Huge matchup this week with Texas. If you want to know my thoughts about that, what the gut says, listen to the preview show, which comes out on Tuesdays. Tune in for that. At the number 20 spot, we have the LSU Tigers. Okay. If you pay attention to the AP poll, you shouldn't. If you pay attention to the coaches poll, you shouldn't. I believe they have them 10 or 11, somewhere around there. How? I can't fathom LSU being a top 12 team in college football right now. They lose to USC. They should have lost to South Carolina. And I'm a person that believes in should have lost, okay? A lot of people out there say should have doesn't count because if it should have happened, it would have happened. Well, not true in college football. There's a lot of funky stuff going on. I believe in should haves. LSU, this is where they need to be. Number 20. Any higher? No. Any lower? No. Number 20 is the spot for the LSU Tigers. Tennessee Volunteers. I believe the AP dropped them 4 spots from number 4 to number 8. I don't do that. When teams lose and they lose handedly. Now, they didn't get blown out. They lost by 5, but if you watch the football game, they weren't controlling that game. It was Arkansas. It was Arkansas controlling that football game. Tennessee's got a lot to figure out. They have a lot to figure out, okay? I like them at number 19. Navy. Didn't I just rank a service academy at number 20? I did. Boom. And we have another one. Navy midshipman, Blake Horvath, quarterback, running back, fullback, whatever you want to call him. He is incredible, off to one of the hottest starts in all of college football. He has 9+ passing touchdowns, 9+ rushing touchdowns. The guy is a dynamic duo in and of himself. You think dynamic duo and you're like, that's 2 guys. Well, Blake Horvath, that's 1 guy, and he is a dynamic duo by himself. Oxymoron, kind of. Right in front of Navy, we have Illinois, Fighting Illini. What is a Fighting Illini? Fighting Irish, we have this. But what's a Fighting Illini? What is that? I'm not sure. But anyways, Illinois. I love Illinois. I think they could be higher, but they have a loss, okay? Speaking of the Fighting Irish, we have Notre Dame at number 16. The offense is still holding me back. And honestly, their best win, Louisville. Not sure how good Louisville is, but it's a better win than a lot of football teams. But the offense holds me back from putting them higher. So Fighting Irish, going to be at number 16 for now, probably in that region for the foreseeable future. Number 15, right ahead of them, Kansas State Wildcats. They have the one blowout loss to BYU, and that's it. And other than that, they've looked phenomenal all year. Still love the Kansas State Wildcats. In front of them, we have the Ole Miss Rebels. And you're thinking to yourself, Ian, didn't you have them in the top 10 last week? And I did. I did have them in the top 10. I wasn't like the AP poll and dropped them way off a cliff after that loss to Kentucky. However, I still believe in the Ole Miss Rebels. However, the teams around them, the teams way behind them, I love what they've done, and I sort them up in the rankings in the what if poll. Okay, because that's what the what if poll is about. That's what the what if poll is about. The Boise State Broncos. This ranking is not solely based on Ashton Jeanty, even though he's the best player in all of college football. Well, 1A, Travis Hunter, 1B, Ashton Jeanty, everybody else, maybe Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. But Ashton Jeanty, this guy plays half of a football game and has 190 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. And it's not like there's gaping holes where he's running through 50 yards of open field, okay? He's bouncing off of guys, spinning around them, doing backflips over them into the end zone. Incredible stuff from Ashton Jeanty. At number 12, Iowa State Cyclones. The Iowa State is funky because they have gotten off to slow start after slow start after slow start. And I'm thinking, what are you doing, Ian, picking Iowa State against the spread this week? What are you doing? Next thing I know, they win by 22 points and it's all well, okay? I would like quicker starts from Iowa State right now, but they're a solid group, solid football team, well coached. Texas A&M Aggies. Some people call them Gay and M. I'm not sure about that, but we'll call them Gay and M from here on out. At number 11, absolute dismantling of Missouri yesterday. Connor Wigman proved me wrong. I thought they were going to go, excuse me, forgetting his name. I thought they were going to go with his backup. They didn't. They went with Connor Wigman. Correct decision. That's why Mike Elko is the football coach and not me. So Gay and M at number 11. Number 10 in the country, Alabama Crimson Tide. And you're thinking, Ian, you cannot have them in the top 10. They lost to Vanderbilt. And I know they lost to Vanderbilt. But unlike Tennessee, who lost to Arkansas, Alabama still has a win over Georgia. Okay? And I can't get that out of my mind. I can't just forget that happened. So I'm going to put them at number 10. Still like them. Still think they're a very good football team. But they did lose to Vanderbilt. So we're dropping them. We're dropping them far because they deserve it. But they also deserve to be in the top 10 because they have the best win in all of college football aside from Vanderbilt. Number 9, Indiana Hoosiers. A lot of people are going to be like, Indiana in the top 10, you're a psychopath. No, I'm not. No, I am not. Watch this football team play, and you will see quarterback Rourke, one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football that nobody's talking about because it's Indiana. Okay, it's the Hoosiers. This is a team that you do not want to play. I believe they play Ohio State 3-4 weeks or Penn State. Can't remember which one, but they play one of them. Would not want to play the Indiana Hoosiers right now. Next up, BYU Cougars. Some of you are saying, Ian, this is way too high. BYU, the Mormons at number 8. Yes, the Mormons at number 8, undefeated 5-0. Gotta rank them. Have a really good win against a really good SMU team. Love BYU in the top 10. Miami at number 7, unchanged from last week. I can't bump them up because honestly, could have 2 losses right now if it's not for the ACC officials in their pocket. Okay. And I believe that. Penn State, number 6. Look, I heard Desmond Howard say on game day that Penn State's offense is revitalized. It's really humming. It's incredible offense. And I'm thinking to myself sitting on my couch, are you watching? Are you watching? It's better, but it's not this incredible top 5 offense in all of college football. Open your eyes, Desmond Howard. It's not blowing people away. Still think they're a really good football team. At number 6, I have them at number 6. But the notion that their offense has figured everything out is false, okay? They still have a lot to get better at, which most teams in college football do right now. There's only about 2 or 3 that don't. Clemson Tigers, number 5. Some of you are going to come after me for this one and after me for this one. Ian, they got blown out by Georgia. They've played nobody since then. However, I watch the games. I see what I see, and I create the list. I watch basically every single football game. And the Clemson Tigers are a top 5 football team right now in this country. No doubt in my mind. Next up, Oregon Ducks. I really didn't want to put them at number 4, but I was debating and I couldn't figure out. I couldn't justify having them not in the top 4 right now based on what everybody around them has done and the records of everyone around them. So I have them at number 4, but I just am not in love with Oregon right now. And I was in the preseason. They were my preseason national championship. Next week, we're going to redo those. We're going to do midseason and predict it. But they have to be at number 4 right now. Have to be. Georgia Bulldogs at number 3. Yes, they lost to Alabama. Still a solid football team. I still think they're a top 3 football team in the country. Sue me. I don't care. Don't sue me. Texas Longhorns at number 2. Some of you are going to say, who's number 1? Well, it would be Ohio State. Look, and I've gone back and forth. I had Ohio State at number 2 earlier today. I had Texas at number 1. I had Ohio State at number 2. I switched them up all around. This is what I decided on. If you put Texas at number 1, I'm not going to be upset with you. If you put Ohio State at number 1, you would be correct because that's what we have at the Ian Fritts show. But this is your top 5. And you told me halfway through the season if this is what your top 5 looked like, I would have been baffled. Absolutely baffled. But here we are. We have a 2007 look-alike season on our hands. Chaos is coming. It happened yesterday. It's not over. Next up, if you're new here, we have the muffins section of the video. Every week, we pick a team, a coach, a player, maybe an official, if they have a really good week, which they never do. So a team, a coach, a fan base, a player that has a certified stud muffin worthy game in a big time game. Okay. So anybody can perform in a game that doesn't mean anything. Okay. And by mean anything, I mean it's Indiana versus FCS School of the Blind. Okay. That's not a big time football game. But like Tennessee, Arkansas, big time football game. Big time football game. Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Alabama, big time football game. Okay. So those are the types of games I'm looking for. And those are the types of performance we're going to reward. So I couldn't have gone anywhere else. It's one thing and one thing only. It's the Vanderbilt Commodores. Okay, they are certified stud muffins. Week 6, incredible performance from start to finish. In the started the week they started preparing for Alabama. Okay, it didn't start when the game started. It started that week. And they outplayed, outcoached, outschemed, outdid everything against Alabama. Crazy, crazy stuff. Vanderbilt, the first team in the history of this show to get a certified stud muffin. So, without further ado, that is the end of the show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe down below. Comment down below what you disagree with in the what if poll, and I'll try and justify why I did it, how I did it. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game.
45, 40, 45, 50, 45. There it goes.